right, everybody. I'm actually going to pause the recording here just because we are just a few minutes until the top of the hour, and I'll hit it again when we get started. Okay, Nate Hagerty here, CEO of TaxProMarketer, and I have two very good friends. I actually only found out 5 minutes ago that we also got Donald Stojack to be a part of this. So I'm really excited about this. Quick word about Donald before I talk about Anthony. Donald has, as you can see by his hair color, has years of experience. Specifically though, like in the sales arena, sales training, sales coaching. He's worked with Chet Holmes, Tony Robbins, some of the top people in the industry, in the sales training world, and is, a wonderful father of 6, right? Yeah, amazing. Good man. So he's not a shark, but he's got the tools of the shark in his tool bag. So he can deploy them properly with ethical intention and integrity. And I appreciate that about him. In a similar vein, Anthony Simonie, he and I met 7 or 8 years ago in a mastermind in Austin, Texas called the War Room Mastermind, which just had its final meeting. It just folded its tent. But for about a decade, it was the top mastermind for internet marketing in the world. People spent a lot of money to be a part of that thing. And Anthony and I immediately connected because we were Kansas Cityans. And so there weren't very many of those in that mastermind. We connected, we started having meals together. He then moved to Cincinnati and then also now to Austin. And during that time, Anthony built multiple, I think 2 to be precise, multi-7-figure companies running their sales processes, helping others build 7-figure practices in a variety of different industries. And Client Elevator has been going for a little while now here in the tax and accounting space. And he's been coaching a lot of our clients and a lot of other people in the industry on mindset, mentalities, productivity, salesmanship, but also specifically a lot of LinkedIn. LinkedIn, as I put in my email that I dropped the other day, and remains probably the best social media platform there can be for our purposes. Yeah, Facebook can be powerful from an advertising standpoint, but that's pretty much the limit of its utility. Also, groups can be, I think, a really great feature within Facebook, so I will give it that. Traffic is obviously massive. Usage is still massive despite rumors to the contrary. Truly, though, young people aren't really as much on there, but they do have a Facebook account, so that's interesting. So that I will give that to Facebook. Instagram does not lend itself to tax and accounting practices. I have not seen very many people build anything real on Instagram that would be like a effective business building platform. TikTok, leaving aside the fact that I believe it is Chinese spyware, because have you ever read those terms of services? A little quick word on the terms of service of TikTok. No. So not everybody knows this, but within the terms of service, by using TikTok, you give TikTok permission to all of your devices that your email address is attached to. So using TikTok on your phone, you are giving TikTok full access to your laptop. And this is not a conspiracy theory. This is truth. So yes, whatever you think about Chinese spyware, whatever, leaving that aside, it's got an awesome algorithm and it's a good platform for advertising, but it's famous within our world for being a place where there's a lot of bad advice, and it's a tough nut to crack unless you are willing to spend a lot of time, upping your video game. So that makes it kind of a heavier lift for a lot of people to build something real on TikTok. There have been others, I'm friends with some that have built a big following there within our industry, but it is not something that kind of like regular John Smith CPA, Jane Smith CPA can build an effective platform on, because it's a discovery-oriented algorithm. And so it's a different kind of place than a connection-oriented algorithm, right? So there's that. Twitter is a dumpster fire, and this was before and after Elon. It's just like tax Twitter. If any of you follow that hashtag, and participate there, God bless you. It is a place full of anger, cynicism, and frustration. There can be great resources there, but it's not a very effective client getting place unless you, again, are a sort of a unicorn and build a massive platform there by offering great value, which can be done. Like all of these places They are there to be had. But what I'm most interested about LinkedIn is that it is a place that a lot of different kinds of people can get real, true momentum. It is a place that you don't have to be a shining star who goes viral to build an effective presence for our purposes when it comes to business. It is a great repository of the right kinds of clients. And so it offers some of the targeting tools that Facebook offers specifically around business data, which is really, really powerful relative to Facebook, which is more psychographic, behavioral, and demographic. LinkedIn provides a lot of business data that you can mine, especially if you get Sales Navigator, which is not that expensive. But if you get that Sales Navigator subscription, and I don't mean to be stealing any of your fire, Anthony, but this is just a preface for what you're going to talk about. It can be a very powerful thing. Now, I got this question a couple times when I put out the call for this masterclass. Nate, are you guys managing LinkedIn profiles? We've dabbled with this over the years, and every time we run into the terms of service problem. LinkedIn does not allow agencies to manage personal profiles at any kind of scale. You can have like an assistant with your profile. There's people that can do like 3 or 4 or 5 profiles at once. There's some software out there, but we've got hundreds of clients, and we could not manage hundreds of clients and be effective and not violate the terms of service for LinkedIn. So we have not been providing this. And so our goal has been to find other people that could kind of bring knowledge to the table and help those who want to do this well. And that's how that's why we've been bringing in Anthony and Donald over the last few years. Actually, we've loved what they brought to the table, and they are spending a lot of time on LinkedIn. They're coaching people on it daily and are having a lot of success. So that is Anthony and Donald, who both work within the Client Elevator company. So anything about what I've said that either of you want to kind of poke holes in related to my analysis of the platforms or anything else before you dive in?
No, I think you're right on the money. Is just it's one of those places where I think a lot of people don't mess with it because they created a profile a number of years ago. They dabbled in a little bit and figured it out, and they're like, well, heck with that platform,
Yeah, and they just get weird connection requests all the time and spammy, like, I want to sell you all the time, and it's not there. No, Craig, we are not doing CPE for this one because I didn't want to put a time limit. I didn't want to constrain Anthony and Donald on this. So there's no CPE for this. So if that means you got to peace out, peace out. But this is really about building your practice and creating something where you're going to get real momentum for your practice. So no CPE for this. Carry on, Anthony. Sorry.
Yeah, just kind of piggyback off what you're saying is, that LinkedIn, for those of us who understand how to use it, it's very effective. And what it comes down to, especially in this day and age, is people want that connection, right? And so the more we get into automation, which I love automation is fantastic. And I say leverage it everywhere you can, but don't try to have it take the place of having that connection with your particular prospects and clients, because if you rely on that only, you're going to miss a lot of business, but also it's going to open you up for your prospects and clients to entertain other solutions. And that's not what you want. You want to keep that relationship really, really strong. And so that comes off the back of conversation. So you can't get away with not having conversations in business, because the relationships are built off of conversation, right? So it makes sense to get conversation and generating those conversations. It just so happens that you can do that very effectively over on LinkedIn.
Well, and let me just say this, sorry to interrupt, because one of the things that I've become a little bit infamous within this very small world of people that pay attention to me for is I've been pretty clear about how I don't believe that a lot of practitioners should be spending a lot of time on social media just because of their role as a business owner. There's a lot higher leverage activity that they could be operating in, leaving aside even just client work. I'm saying even from a business building, working on your business, decision matrix with what you're going to be looking at. spending a lot of time on LinkedIn isn't necessarily going to be the hinge that swings the biggest door. Or sorry, spending time on social media isn't going to be the hinge that swings the biggest door. LinkedIn can be an exception to that. And so because of the targeting demographics, and so it is worth investing daily time, whether it's putting out content, finding the right kinds of people that are your prospective client avatar and being clear on that, and doing searches and making relationships and connecting there. LinkedIn is an exception to this. So that's, again, why we're here today, because there are a lot of time wasting social media platforms out there. TikTok is like biggest example of that. Like, that is just a suck for your attention, your time. Recently, I think called it like fentanyl, like mental fentanyl. And I think that's really what it can be like. LinkedIn can be an exception. Now, there's plenty of there's plenty of crap still out there on LinkedIn, just from a newsfeed standpoint. But like, the newsfeed isn't really the most important part of LinkedIn. It really is the relationships that can be formed there, the quick and easy access to decision makers that matter. Your dream 100, as Chet Holmes used to, famously kind of created that process. Like, they are there on LinkedIn, and you can find them and you can reach them, especially if you don't come across like a douche, which actually, believe it or not, is easier and easier to do, because there's so many douchebags out there, getting like super spammy in the DMs in LinkedIn, because more and more people have figured out the targeting capacity of LinkedIn, and they are just hassling strangers. That's their thing. Man, that's annoying. So if you can just be like slightly less douchey, I'm sorry I'm being blunt, but that's just how it is, then you can actually stand out. You can still use some of the tactical maneuvers of reaching like in a cold way to your target client, but doing it like a normal human being, building a real relationship, and not just treating them like everybody's like dying to hear your sales pitch, like on the first message. It's not how life works. The webinars that I teach from an online marketing standpoint, we always talk about how there's a relationship journey in online marketing. There's a relationship journey in LinkedIn, and you cannot propose marriage on the first date if you want to have success with the right kinds of clients. Yes, 1 out of 100 might say yes to your proposal. They will not be the kind of client that you want to. They are most likely either you struck lightning in a bottle and just happened to get them at the exact perfect moment, but more likely they are weirdos that say yes to stuff and aren't going to be a good client. So that's my deal with kind of like some of this aggressive hassling strangers stuff that we see on LinkedIn. Anyway, carry on, Anthony. I'm speaking my mind.
I'm enjoying this a lot.
Well, it reminds me, because I'm showing my age now, but it reminds me years ago, when I joined the Chamber of Commerce, I'd always be that new person would join the Chamber of Commerce. And the very first meeting that they would attend, they would pass out their business cards to everybody. Okay. I'd always say, don't be Bob, right? Don't pass your business cards out to everybody on the first meeting. Don't do it, because you're cannibalizing your marketplace. You have to build that relationship. That's got to come first. And if you do that solidly, that leads to all kinds of stuff, even if they never become your client, because if you built a relationship, now you have a chance to gain that conversations that's beyond that. And your best clients that are sitting out there are 1 or 2 conversations over. But if you're coming in the marketplace that all you're doing is pitching, you're cutting that off at the knees. And
most accountants aren't like very excited about becoming pitch people, right?
So don't do it. You don't have to do anything but that.
Right.
Do anything but that.
This is what it's about right here. If you could just think about this before you get on any phone call, like, how are you going to serve? Like, you take the pressure off of yourself and off the conversation. And sometimes you, like, even if they don't do business with you, you end up, they like you anyway, right? You didn't do them wrong, but it's true. It's true. And long gone are the days, Nate, where people are just raising their hand. Hey, can I become your client? It happens sometimes, but relationships are more important now than ever. And that's why I say, I love technology, but the relationship piece, you have to do something differently. You can't rely on a bot or, just technology alone to do that. Like, leverage.
And if you want to harvest some really good fruit, okay, and I think all in business, we always want to harvest those really good mangoes or whatever's coming off the tree or the bush. You got to plant some seeds at some point. Okay. And I think too many times in business, we failed to plant seeds or just getting caught up into those experts out there that just tell us, just pick the fruit. Okay. Got to plant some seeds. So we got to start the connections. We got to start the conversations that do reap the rewards down, but you can't harvest unless you're planted.
That's right. All right, so let's dive in, shall we? Anthony, I know you said you had a couple slides, and I'm not going to be afraid to interrupt and make my opinions known, obviously. So,
Well, I would think you're not feeling well if you did that.
I think we should take out those slides about using TikTok, Anthony.
right. Right.
So, let me get the slide loaded up here. So tell me if you can see the screen.
There you go. Yep.
Good. So, I'm not going to go through a whole bunch of this. We talked about a lot about LinkedIn. I'm going to show you some stuff here, though, just some stats so you can, for those of you that like to see graphs and stuff like that. And then I'll hop into my LinkedIn account and show you some stuff you can start doing today on your own account. And then I will answer questions and I'll give you some free gifts and all the good stuff. I was going to go over this slide, but I think we did a lot of that already.
Oh, you got a picture of my family. I love it.
I was trying to figure out how to arrange it, and I'm like, man, he has so many more people in his family than we do.
Yeah. It's all good.
But yeah, so one of the things I like to mention, because I'm just not shameful of it, is plugging adoption. So,
Amen.
Adoption changes lives. I was adopted. My 2 kids are adopted. Look how many kids Nate has. Most of those are adopted. It changes lives. And that's something that Nate and I have in common. And so we're big advocates of adoption. So Donald has a number of children as well. So none of those are adopted though, right?
Nope, all mine. Biologically. Oh.
Yeah.
All
right.
Well, it's not too late, Donald.
I know. My wife keeps telling me. She says, Nate's got more than we've got. We got to catch
That's
up.
right. 6 is a good start though, Donald.
That's a good start.
Yeah, not bad. So let me move this little graph out of the way here. So we talked about LinkedIn, or Nate talked about LinkedIn a lot, but LinkedIn is really for professionals and executives and even high-powered CEOs. It is become the norm for them to interact and be active over on LinkedIn. And like Nate said, one of the great things about LinkedIn is you can target people right down to their title, the company they work for. You can't do income or anything like that, but you can target by number of employees. There's a lot of great stuff you can do with the Sales Navigator tool. And it's the only place that I know of that's really effective in going in and be able to just target them right off the bat and not have to pay to play, so to speak, other than having the Sales Navigator tool to use. So 65 million decision makers on LinkedIn. 6 out of every 10 users actively look for industry insights on LinkedIn. The reason why this is important is because Nate talked about all the social media platforms. One of the things that is very unique to LinkedIn is it's business, really business only for the most part. And so when people are over on LinkedIn, they've got business on the brain. So when you interact with them, there's this, it's just like a small mindset shift that means a lot. So when you're talking with them and engaging with them, they're more willing to do that over on LinkedIn. They don't shut you down as fast as they would over on on Facebook, where you reach out to them. It's just a different mindset over there.
Well, you've got 4 out of 5 people on LinkedIn that are actual business drivers. So there's a good chance when you're connecting with people, they really want to connect. So you're not chasing people as much as this is where we hang out. This is where we're used to go to a service organization years ago. I mentioned the chamber. LinkedIn is it online.
Well, and the other great thing about our purposes in the accounting and tax world is that what we do is so appealing to the right kind of client. Mm-hmm. And our messaging can be extremely alluring for certain kinds of clients if we do it right. So we really are, we really are selling dollars at a discount when we do it right. And that is a powerful thing. And there's also the other side of the coin, the avoidance of negative outcomes. And it's something that we can protect our clients from, or at least just be there port in the storm should the storm arise, which is a very valuable, powerful, benefit that we provide that not a lot of other people provide. There's a lot of LinkedIn recruiting folks who want to bring hiring people. There's a lot of people who are software developers and what have you, and it's sort of these ancillary non-direct needs, but every good small business owner needs a powerful accounting practitioner in their world. So, LinkedIn is just perfect.
The other thing, Nate, is what I found after doing this so many times for so long now, especially in this accounting world, is that there's a certain level of trust that comes with this profession. So you don't get the same, hey, brush off that you do with a lot of other professions. So if you will just come onto this platform and you will be cool to people, you're going to get a lot out of it. So there's a couple other things here before we hop into my account, Nate. But for those of you that like to see graphical representations, this shows the growth of LinkedIn from 2010, 2022. You can see how just massive the growth is. And what I thought was interesting is that the interest for the term LinkedIn increased by 212% over the last 12 years. So what that means is that just more and more people they're adopting this platform and putting it to use for themselves. And so what that means is that your people who you're trying to target and create relationships with, that's the place to do it.
Yep.
And again, you don't have to pay to do it. You don't have to pay for ads or anything like that. Not that there's anything wrong with that. It's just that you don't have to be very effective. In terms of the social media, just kind of let's bash on them some more, Nate. So clearly LinkedIn is a much better lead generation platform than Twitter.
Just the facts.
Just the facts. And executives, so AKA people that have good jobs or business owners that make money, they reported that the best value on social media came from being on LinkedIn. And again, let's bash on Facebook a little bit. There's no scrolling on LinkedIn to get to wedding videos or pictures of cats or what somebody had for breakfast. So the 60-30-10 rule, I like to share this every time I do a presentation, because generally in marketing, when it comes down to the effectiveness of an offer, it's 60% the audience, 30% is the offer, and 10% is the way it's delivered. So I mentioned this especially for LinkedIn because LinkedIn is where that 60% is, right? The right people you can get to is already there. So it's just about how to position and communicate your offering, right? So if you think about Facebook, if you're doing Facebook ads, one of the things that our clients do is after they start gaining traction on LinkedIn, they will take the list that they build and they'll bring it over to Facebook and they'll create a similar audience. And that way it cuts down the learning curve of the Facebook pixel and also get you to that ideal client type a lot faster. So the ROI is better, quicker when you're going to do paid advertising, as Nate, I know, could speak a lot about. Go ahead. Did you want to say something?
Nope.
Oh, okay. So yeah, so that's a kind of a byproduct or by benefit of being on LinkedIn is it can help you in other areas of your business, other marketing initiatives, if you will. All right, so before I hop into my account, Nate, I want to give everybody an opportunity to get this free guide. So this guide is just going to walk you through a lot of the stuff we're going to talk about today, but it'll give you a nice point of reference. So as you are working on your own account, you could look at it. It's got an example of my profile. It talks about the different sections, which I'm going to go over a lot of it here in a minute, but I want to give you a chance to get that if you'd like something to hold in your hand, so to speak, while you're doing it.
I'll type this into the chat for you.
Cool. All right, let me.
Oh, can you go back so I can see it?
Sorry about that. Too fast. Yeah, so text the word guide to 512-648-4240.
Okay, cool.
All right.
Carry on.
Awesome. So can you still see my screen?
Yep.
Good. All right. So this is my profile, obviously. And there are 4 main areas that want to make sure that you have optimized before you start reaching out to people. So once we cover these, I'll show you how to reach out to people as well. But so my cover image, right, which is right here, this is the first area to pay attention to. This is premium marketing space. So the stuff that you can't fit in down here, you want to fit in up here and call out. So you'll see I have a phone number. This is a phone number that can be somebody.
By the way, it's really smart that you put Jill in your picture.
Oh, of course. Are you kidding me? I was just speaking at a mastermind a couple of days ago, and I made that joke. I was like, yeah, in case any of you are wondering, I am pretty good at what I do. I mean, look how far I married up.
I mean, like I've worked with Jill. Yeah. Yes.
She makes me look good. I admit it, or
Yeah,
better anyway.
she's way cooler than you are.
So, but yeah, you're right. And that's a good point, because if you think about your ideal type of client, the best marketing you could do is push away the people you don't want to work with and bring those that you love working with closer to you. And for me, that happens to be people that care about their family. They have very strong family values. That's your thing. So if somebody's turned off by this, I'm 100% okay with it. Right. So on this cover image, think about those things. So you might put a quote from yourself, like something that you believe in for your clients. So we've got some clients that, for example, they talk about what their passion is. Their passion is to help their clients make the best financial decisions in a tough economy or whatever it might be. Think about that ideal type of client you love working with and relate that here on this image. If you have trouble figuring out what to put on there, some people will put a picture of their city in the background, the area they serve. For me, I like to talk about more the right clients equal more profit and more freedom, because that's what we're doing here on LinkedIn. We're looking for more of the right clients, the ones that we're not looking for necessarily quantity, although you can get quantity. You're looking for quality, right? These are in quality, meaning people that see your value and are willing to pay you what you are worth. You understand? Because I know this industry gets lots of phone calls, and one of the first questions is, how much do you charge? Right? And there's ways to turn those situations around too, we talk about, but for the most part, it's about the audience. Right? And so you want to pull and attract those types of clients to you. And one of the ways you're going to do that is showing up here in this premium marketing space and real estate in an effective way. Cover image. If you don't have a graphic design background, Nate will create yours for you. Just kidding. Very simple to do. There's a tool. Let me show you this tool so you all can go and leverage it. Canva.com. Nate, you and I were using Canva before they had commercials. You remember that?
That's right. Hell yeah.
Nobody knew about it. So when you said Canva, people were like, oh my gosh, this is the greatest thing. And I'm like, hey, I just seen that in between my Hulu.
Yeah. They've gotten big for a reason, because they're very, very powerful, and they've got a good model, a pricing model. It's a powerful design platform.
Absolutely. So if you go over here, they've already got LinkedIn cover image templates. There's a lot of them that are free. Some of them are like $1.
Yeah.
But it's so easy to create, drag and drop.
But why don't you speak to the things that you put in your design? So, what you've put there are kind of call out things, authority things, like you've got yourself speaking, leading a mastermind group, a Zoom one, your family. I mean, and again, sort of like your tagline, so to speak, as well as your phone number. That's pretty cool. So
yeah, you want to maximize it, right? You want to maximize the space.
Yep.
And, we as human beings, we're visual beings, right? So we only remember about 20% of what we read. Most of us, Nate's different, obviously, but 80% of what we see, we remember. So imagery is really important. And so in my cover image, like Nate was talking about, this is like a social proof element. So this is me in front of like 82 clients at a live event that I held. This is me in front of some of our mastermind members, right? We meet with our mastermind members every week, and we talk about business, and we solve problems, and we help bring in more revenue. And then family, right? Family is important to me. And this tagline here, I know that this is important to my market. This market is some of our clients, they come to us and they have like 600 clients, right? And they're just got all this chaos, right? And they're trying to work. They're not trying to work with a general tax clients as much as they're trying to work with advisory clients or, consulting type of clients where they can actually work with less, but end up making more money and making more impact. And so I know that this resonates with them. So I know they want more of the right clients because they want more profit and they want more freedom, right? 3 things I know they want. And that's why the cover image is so important. Those are the elements. And then I've got, like Nate said, the phone number here, you can't see on mine because I have the editing icon, but if you go to my profile, you'll see the actual phone number. So if somebody wants to reach out to me, they can. And if you're wondering, it does not get abused. So I don't get a whole bunch of marketing calls or anything like that. It's not something they can just copy and paste or scrape. It's in an image. So somebody has to look at the image and actually dial it to make that happen.
And there, I just put your profile link into the chat so people can go and connect with you and see what you do.
Yeah, so that's the cover image, Nate. Anything else you want me to cover on that area? You good on
No,
that?
that's great. Let's keep going.
Yeah, so the next area is your profile picture. Obviously mine, I'm definitely gonna put my wife in my picture. Instantly I get, just elevated to another status level, right? But for you, I highly recommend that you put a clear picture in this area. Try to take up as much as the area as possible and look, like, show your eyeballs
And smile.
Yeah. We've got some clients and they literally, Nate, they're like, I don't smile. And I'm like, well, do you like clients?
Gonna be a problem.
Clients, really good clients. You love working with them. They're fun and they don't, beat you to death. Then smile. So you can take a picture with your phone and use it. These things have great cameras these days. You can edit them a little bit if you want, but just make sure that it's a picture that looks like what you look like now. So don't put a 5-10-year-old picture in there. Most people do that, which is
no glamour shots from this 80s or 90s.
Yeah, those things are great back then. But now people just know they're old and it's inauthentic, right? So this is about building relationships. And the first thing you want to do is make a good first impression. If you want to get a whited out background or a ring like this around your photo, there's another free tool. It's called pfpmaker.com. And all you have to do is upload your photo and just click that button here. And you can upload a photo to click this one here, just for an example. I don't know how it's going to turn out. It does have my wife in it, so don't mean to disappoint you, Nate.
We're getting questions, your personal page, business page, or both. So there is a good question here. Rosalie asked this, and Tina as well, about individual profile versus a business profile. I think they mean business page.
Yeah.
So you want to speak to that?
Yeah. So your personal profile, this one you're looking at here, this is where all the kind of quote magic's going to happen, because this is where you're going to do outreach. This is where conversations are going to happen. Whereas your business page, that's a great additional page to be able to post content. So if you do, how Nate does, he writes articles, right? You guys write articles for your clients. You do posting, that kind of stuff. You can share that kind of stuff on your business page over on LinkedIn, but then share that across over to your personal profile.
Yeah, LinkedIn is still following the pre-2013 Facebook algorithm where post 2013, when they made the big switch, because it was before 2013 on Facebook, pages and profiles kind of had equal status within the newsfeed. Profiles jumped up in 2013, and it's kind of the same on LinkedIn. Profiles are a lot more powerful than business pages still. Now, if you've got a big brand and you're known as a brand, that's where the exception can occur. But you're going to want to focus in on your personal profile and see it as a brand asset within your company. See it as your personal brand asset, so to speak. You as the owner, your LinkedIn page is, it's just one of many kind of public, assets that you can manage, including similar to your Google business profile, but in a different vein. It's really powerful. I would just keep it business and not worry about the personal versus business kind of distinction that we sometimes do on Facebook. Some people use Facebook pure, their personal profile, there's a hard wall between any businessy things for people on Facebook. People are starting to do the DM outreach stuff on Facebook, and it's a lot more dangerous, in my opinion, because of that distinction that people carry. But on LinkedIn, it's sort of it's a business platform.
It
And
is.
so
It is. They'll flag
use
you
your profile.
10, right? You'll do 10 outreach and they'll flag you. They'll say, slow down. You'll get a message and they'll say, slow down.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen. I'll talk about some restrictions here in a minute, but that doesn't happen for the most part over there. But Nate, since you brought it up, I wanted to share this before I move on to the next part, because LinkedIn has a near perfect Moz domain score. So what does that mean? That means that Google loves LinkedIn. And so if you've got a LinkedIn profile, let's say you created it 10 years ago, it's going to show up most likely on the first page of Google if somebody types your name in. So for that reason, it makes sense to optimize your LinkedIn profile because people are going to see it. So if you think about, like, if you're a client of Nate's, for example, and they do all this great stuff to get you to show up at the top of, the first page of Google, which is awesome, right? Well, your LinkedIn profile is going to show up there as well. So
when people search for your name, yes.
Yeah, search for your name. So we're not talking about like CPA and whatever town you're in, anything like that. But we know that people do business with people. So chances are they're going to Google your name. So you can do yourself a favor by taking what we talk about today and implementing it, because it'll give you a nice little bump and another piece of real estate to take up on the internet. Like you see mine there's at the very top. And what's really cool about it is you see how Google took a snippet from my profile, and that was from somebody that gave me a review, and it's somebody else's words, right? So that's pretty cool. You don't see that. Like, look down here on Facebook. Facebook's making you go, it's saying, hey, come over on Facebook, and it's all about
Facebook is a walled garden more
Yeah.
than LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
right.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a side benefit of doing that. So the next area that I want to share with you here is the headline area, and that's this area right here. And this is an important area because this is one of the first things people will see when you start doing your outreach. So you reach out to connect with people. One of the first things they're going to see is your photo, your profile photo, and this headline. So this headline, it needs to grab some attention. I like to personalize it a little bit, and I recommend that you do too, if you can find a way to do it. So for example, mine starts out with kind of what one of my core beliefs is, and that is like being a giver, right? I love to serve. So I call myself a chief giving officer, right? And then it's investor, loving dad, adoption advocate. Then it's, what does my market want the most? So unique process attracts, wins, and retains the right clients while increasing referrals consistently and predictably. And then I have a call to action that says see below. Because what you're trying to do here is maximize this marketing space, right? You're trying to guide them where you want them to go.
Well, and this is the thing that everybody sees, like if there is outreach that is done, like if you do connect with somebody, this is the thing that people are guaranteed to see. Yeah. So it's really important that you put some thought into it and not just like, CPA, happy dad, right. And that's fine.
I just put a formula in the chat that's kind of good to follow on that process as well, to kind of give you some insight on that as well.
Yeah. And so we talk about acronyms. So like if you're a CPA, we'll tell our clients, like, put that in the very beginning, because remember I said there's a certain level of trust you just automatically have. And people, they feel more comfortable with that. So, and it's also a nice attention grabber because it's it's an acronym and it kind of grabs your eyes. You'll notice the emojis there. I like putting a few of them there. It breaks up the text nicely. I wouldn't go overboard with it. I like the millennials these days, they can write a whole paragraph in just emojis. I don't even know what they're saying. But if you put a few of them in kind of scarcely, it does break it up, keep the eyeballs on the page better. Now, Nate said that this is an important area because it's one of the first things that they see when you reach out. And that's, you see this area here? This is what they see when you send a connection request. So you might be familiar with that. If somebody's sending you connection requests, they can see your picture and the headline. That's why you want to have something that grabs their attention, because one of the first things they're going to do is they're going to click over to your profile. So you want them to do that, because they're not going to, typically they're not going to just say accept. Some will, but most of them are going to pop over your profile. How do I know? And how will you know? Because you'll get a notice from LinkedIn that somebody viewed your profile, which is kind of cool, right? Because then you can enter a conversation even if they don't accept, right? Say, hey, I noticed you popped on my profile and you didn't accept my connection request, right? You can, these are things you can do to start conversations. So cover, profile, headline. The next section is the about section. This section here is where you really get an opportunity to talk about the benefits of what you do. And I recommend to focus on problems that you solve and give an example. right? So it should be written like a sales letter versus like a summary. There's a lot of people, if you hop onto LinkedIn and you start looking at profiles, you'll notice that people will talk in third person. And it's more kind of like a resume. That's not what you want. You want to keep it conversational and relational. And you want to focus on like what they're trying to do, right? Not brag about what you can do, but talk about the results that you can get as they relate to the different problems that you solve. And you all have a lot of problems you could solve right now in this market, right? There's a lot of business people out there that are looking for guidance in this market. And so immediately you got the fact that you're either a CPA or an accountant, right? Or maybe you're a financial advisor. And you got the fact that there's a conversation going on in their head right now that they're looking for guidance, right? Because the market's shifting a lot right now. And those are things you can help with. So you want to talk about those things in the about section. Does that make sense for everybody? Anybody have any questions on any of that yet?
Well, it's basically saying, here's what I've got. Here's what it's going to do for you. And here's what I want you to do next. Give me a call. So it's just a very simple pattern that we overthink way too much.
Rosalie had a good question in the chat, which again, reminder, these are great questions that a lot of you are putting in the chat that only we see. If you put it in the Q&A, other people can see it too. But anyway, Rosalie wanted to know if we can put certifications in the name field.
Oh yeah, you've got a certain amount of characters there to work with. So some of our clients put CPA in front of their name, right? They'll put like, for example, or they'll put like a designation they have in front of their name. So you can do that. It's not gonna hurt you any to do that. And the other thing to be careful of though is that while you want to show your authority, like if it were me, I would take those designations, I put them on your cover image. Because first of all, remember I showed you the name, like people Google your name. You don't want to throw that off inside the Google search when people are looking for you. But also, this might come to as a surprise to you, but people really don't care about you much. They just don't, right? I mean, they want to know what you could do for them. And so those designations, while they're amazing, they don't necessarily care too much about them until after you're in conversation. So then you can bring them up where relevant.
And there's a fine line between authority and being unapproachable as well. So it's kind of interesting. And I found that in my career too, sometimes I'll present on something and I come off as too high up on the stage that people won't connect. So also think about on that level as well. And what that line is, who knows what it is. Yeah.
So just going back to kind of put a cap on the about section, I recommend that you put a call to action at the end, like you see here on mine. These are busy people, so you need to be a little bit redundant and remind them again that, let's connect, shoot me a message. Because a lot of times if you don't, like they're busy, they just might leave your profile thinking, hey, I'm going to come back and connect, but just remind them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the 4 areas that you want to have dialed in for sure before you start reaching out to people. The outreach now, this is where it gets fun. Because if you think about it, Nate, you give me a profession and I'll do a search here.
It's one that a lot of people are pursuing these days. I mean, there's the cannabis one that a lot of people are popping up with interest about. Let's say real estate agents.
All right. So if we type in real estate agent, I'm going to click on people here so you can see just how many are across the entire platform. So there's over 1.7 million results. Now, the next thing you're going to want to do though is, well, first of all, there's obviously plenty of them, right? I mean, how many do you need to become clients to hit your revenue goals, right? So I recommend that you narrow it down. And even if you can serve nationally, start with your own area. So let's choose my area here in Austin. You can see there's still 17,000 results. And so you can see as you scroll down through here, these are all real estate agents. And I mean, there's over 100 pages of results here. So what you're going to want to do here is I recommend popping over to their profile. Because 2 things are going to happen. One, when you land on their profile, they're going to get a notification that shows you were over there, right? And that way, if you reach out to try to connect with them with a message and you didn't pop over there and you said something about them, they're going to be like, well, this is BS, right? Like they didn't even take the time to check me out. But if you
Or
come
you
over
must be,
there,
or you must really be a robot. Yeah.
yeah, or or a bot,
Yep.
you can come over here and you can look at a piece of their content real quick, read a little bit of it, come back over and say something nice about this agent. So, hey, I was over on your profile, saw you were working on this. You look like somebody I'd like to add to my network. And then you click send. Something very simple. Don't talk about like how great you are. Don't talk about all the services you offer, just something very conversational. And if you do it this way and you compliment them, it's kind of like the old how to win friends and influence people. It's hard for them to decline when you say something nice about something they're doing. And so you've got, really the world's your oyster with this because there is just so many to connect with. Now, I will tell you this, as you're going through this, LinkedIn really only wants you to connect with your send connection requests to second degree connections. So what does that mean? That means that they are first degree connections of your first degree connections. So what I recommend here is come up here under connections, click the second degree and then show results. You can see still 2,200 results. Now, it's important to remember that every time you gain a connection, a new first degree connection, so I click connect, they accept, that's a new first degree. My second degree number of second degree connections goes up. So every first degree you get, your second degree connections are going to expand. So this is what gives you more and more people to continue to connect with. Does that make sense, Nate?
Yes.
Every connection is a gold pathway to a whole new network of people.
Now, here's something that you probably don't know. LinkedIn has a daily connection request limit of 20 per day for second degree. What we just found out a few weeks ago from an insider is that we can now get that up to 45 a day. Here's how you do it. Here's how you do it. Write this down. I don't care if you haven't logged in for 10 years. Start with 5 per day. 48 hours from now, add another 5. So now you're at 10. 48 hours from then, add another 5. Follow that until you get to 45 a day. And if you do that now, and most people don't know this. So if you do that.
So you say 5 and then 48 hours do 10, 48 hours do 15, 48 hours do 20 and keep going.
Yep. So when you
until
get to
you hit 45.
Right. So 45 a day. So that's now you get over.
And that's the limit. Like you can't go to 50.
No.
Interesting.
Well, you could, but you're
pushing
it. You're playing with fire. Because
it must trick. There's some sort of internal alarm bell like that LinkedIn has. Okay.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah, if you do it that way and kind of that rhythm, it's natural. You just didn't hop back in there after 10 years and 45 a day.
And I want to kind of like highlight something just to make sure that everyone's paying attention to it. So the interesting thing about LinkedIn is it's this combination of push and pull. And, when you do make this request, what you're doing is you're putting yourself on the radar of these folks. And then it's up to your profile to do the hard work of giving them a reason to say yes. And so it's kind of like a lot of the platforms that we build on our side, like as an agency, when we build websites and Google business profiles and even Facebook pages for people are discovered through intentional searching. This is a process which you can actually create your own momentum. You can do a little bit of both of the push. You're pushing yourself to their attention for a moment, but not pushing so hard so that they want to come check out your profile. And then it becomes more like it actually switches back to the pull. When you raise your hand by making that connection request and not being a douche, and then they come and see your profile and they like it, suddenly they are actually taking an active step, a micro commitment to say yes to you. And then the power is back into a neutral state. So then you can begin to actually build that relationship.
100%, Nate. And that's a very important distinction, right? It's very important. And it's actually should be very exciting to you because you can actually start doing this today. Like right now, after we get done here, you could start doing this and you will see some results. You'll start seeing conversations come through. You'll start seeing new connections. And that's pretty exciting because sometimes you have to wait a little bit to get those kinds of things happening. But here you can do it very quickly. So that's a little tip, like I said, most people don't know about that, but that's how you get a lot more out of just the second degree functionality. Okay. And they don't want you reaching out to third or fourth degree either, because they don't feel like you're close enough to that person to really know them at all. Right. So the next thing is going to be LinkedIn groups. So if we keep that same search, we take out this here, so we don't limit that. Take this off, and then we go to.
By the way, Anthony, I had set an hour for this, so we got about 5 minutes left in the hour. We can keep going if people would like, but maybe let's just give them a way that they can connect to you so that if they do have to go, people's calendars type, we'll keep going. But if people, okay. I'm gonna put that in the chat. People want to, what are you going to do for people with this thing? Because this is. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say this is, occasionally what we do is we open up our calendars and we'll hop on a Zoom call just like this, and we'll go through your profile and we'll talk about how to optimize it specifically to what you're offering, show you some additional things to target your specific markets. So some of you serve multiple different markets, some of you are concentrated on one. Either way, we can show you how to do that effectively.
Now, I would encourage some people, I saw like people are connecting to you on LinkedIn. That's great. But I would just advise people to use this time. One of the reasons why I like bringing Anthony and Donald into the mix. Yes, they have paid options. You can be a part of their mastermind. You can get their one-on-one coaching and what have you. And that is available for you to enroll in if you want to, but they don't approach these sessions, and I wouldn't have it any other way. They don't approach these sessions as here, I'm just going to give you a demo of what it looks like to be part of my thing. And here's the pricing. 10 minutes later, see ya. They sit with you and they'll give you real coaching and value, and you'll get a real kind of blueprint for how to do this thing well. So we're all the same. I hate getting onto these sort of transparently fake consults that aren't actual consults. They are there's not a sales pitch.
There's not a scripted salesperson on the other end. It's actually going to be me or Anthony. So just full disclosure. You get to talk to us.
Yeah, we've all been on the phone with the scripted sales guy, and it makes me want to barf.
Yeah, and you'll see stuff even you go to CPA Academy, you'll see people commenting on they've come to these Zoom calls. We deliver a lot of value, and they never become our customer. That's okay.
Yep.
That's at the end of the day, like I said, it's about serving, and we know that when people are ready for us, they'll be ready, but we're going to deliver a tremendous amount of value until that time. So this is just one of those opportunities for if you want to hop on and get that individual attention from us and look at your specific stuff. Tell us about what else you're doing, because we could probably help you position it a little bit better, with whatever you got going on right now, to make it even more of a get more of a pop in revenue. It's all those little things add up.
And there is not a one size fits all. There's not a fill in the blanks method. Okay. Ultimately, you have a unique position and your market is unique, but it's connecting the two dots. But with combined experience that we have here, we probably have touched on it somewhere along the line that we can help you get there quicker, faster, or easier. So leverage us.
Nate, can I hop back over for those that want to stick around if you got a few minutes, I'll show them a few more things.
Yep.
Cool. Let me close this out. Did you put that link in the chat in case anybody wants it?
I did. Yep.
Okay, cool. So LinkedIn's all about, so how do you get as much juice out of this platform as possible? So we talked about the second degree campaign. This is what I call group campaigns. And this is how you get into getting a lot more out of the platform. So let me show you what I mean, actually, because there is a group for probably any profession that you're trying to serve on LinkedIn. Real estate agents, financial advisors, insurance agents, you name it.
Specific lawyers, construction companies, truckers, whatever it might be.
Anything you think of, there's groups. I mean, look at this real estate group. 48,000 people. So it's very simple. I'm going to go back to the main profile. So I'm going to show you. Well, here, first, let me show you how easy it is to join. So I'm going to just click to join. Okay. Now I requested to join. Somebody's going to approve me probably in a day, few days, whatever. And once they do, let me show you this. Once they approve me, now that's going to show up in my group section that they have now just moved since yesterday. Awesome. You know what, Nate? I don't know why they don't ever consult me before they make changes.
That's the thing, man. It's changing almost as much as the tax code.
Yeah. So, okay. So let's take this one. These are my groups. Okay. So I'm going to click into this group. And then once you're approved, you can go in and you can see all of these members. There's 611,000 of them. Okay. You see this message tab? I can message any one of them without them being a connection.
And you don't have to pay for it. Like it's not an in-mail thing. Yeah.
Best practice. We're doing about 100 a day.
Don't be a douche.
Yeah. Don't be a douche. Bingo.
Do you mind if I make t-shirts like that and just kind of don't be a douche? Like that's all you got to do. How do you succeed on
the Nate Haggerty Don't Be a Douche Club.
Okay. Nate Haggerty was asked how to succeed on LinkedIn. Here was his answer.
It's true, man. There's so many of those idiots out there. I'm just so tired of it. Everybody is.
Really, I mean, it is the truth. And
they bought a course from some guru who gave them a script, and they're doing the thing. And
look at this.
Don't be that guy.
This is somebody that's a CPA, by the way.
Oh,
Do you see? That's not what you want to do. Okay.
Yeah.
That is like used car salesman stuff.
Oh my gosh, carnival barker. I hate it.
So yeah, love that term. So go through here. You can do 100 a day. So we've been doing 100 a day and not getting in trouble. Again, think about this. You're both part of the same group. Immediately, you have some synergy. So when you reach out to these people, say something like, hey, I noticed you're part of this group, the specific group. Thought I'd reach out, see if it makes sense for us to connect. Something just conversational, right? You add this on to the 45 a day. I mean, you're crushing most other people.
Yeah, and especially if you're adding value within the group, like if you do work with real estate investors, go find these groups and just go add value within the group activity. You know, answer questions about 1031 exchanges or whatever people are talking about, rate environment, you know, STR, LTR, whatever like the hot conversation is. What are the tax implications of these things? What are the accounting practices that you need to set up, the KPIs you should be looking at? Be of value in these groups. And then when you do make the connect, people will have seen you and you know, it becomes gold. I mean, this is why LinkedIn and LinkedIn groups are just so powerful, especially if you have a niche focus. Now, there are people on this webinar who have not identified a particular target clientele niche. And that's fine. You don't have to, but there's local groups, there's local business groups, and that can work really well as well. And, you know, there's people who are like the always online social butterflies, and you don't want to become that. Be strategic about it, right? But you really can provide great value within these groups and make your outreach just that much more effective.
Yeah, and here's the other little tip that you can
do. It does not seem desperate when you do that.
Right. Absolutely. And just think about like how much value you can deliver to these real estate people. For example, you come in here and you can post some really cool insights. And the minute somebody clicks like or comments, you know what you can do? Reach out and engage them in a conversation, even if it's to say, thank you for commenting. Because you know what they're going to do? They're going to pop over to your profile and it's already optimized, right? This all works together in harmony. So the other thing I was going to say, Nate, is you can find the owners of these groups as well. And oftentimes, especially for this industry here, in, you know, accountants, they will allow you to do webinars for their group, right? They'll endorse you to do content only webinars. They're always looking for helpful information for their group members to, you know, let them know, hey, I'm glad you're still here type of thing. Reach out to the group owners and start a conversation with them and see if you can't come in and they'll endorse you in a post or something, or like a webinar or like a Zoom chat like this or an interview or something. It is highly effective. Like we help our clients, we guide them on this all the time. And it is very effective on LinkedIn. If you think about not just the individual as a client, but if you think about how you can deliver value to people that already have books of businesses or books of business influence, and you approach them in a very kind way and you offer to give value to their people, there's a lot of them that are going to say yes. And when they endorse you like that, there's no better lead than a warm referral like that. It like shortcuts the process drastically. Does that make sense?
Indeed.
Now, there's one other thing I want to show everybody here, because it kind of involves what I just talked about. And that is there's an event feature now on LinkedIn. The event feature allows you to, it's kind of like Facebook where you could do a LinkedIn Live, or you can set up the event to go to like a Zoom meeting like this, right? You could do like a webinar or workshop or web class or something using Zoom or any third party platform like GoToMeeting, as long as you have the link, right? You can set up. Now, the event area is over here. So I've got some past events here. No, actually, this is the other thing I'm going to show you. This is cool. So you can post an event like this here. And what happens is you create the event, and now you can invite all your first degree connections to this event. So when you go in and you invite them, they get an email from LinkedIn that invites them to this event. Once they click to attend, let's say somebody shared it from your like your first degree connection shared it with somebody in their network, and they come and they click to attend, that opens up the people to be able to message them. So I showed you the groups, right? How you just click the button to message. Now if they click to attend your event, you can start and engage them in a conversation here too. Pre and post event, Nate. So that function right there. So like our clients, for example, we do this for them. They are getting a lot of additional leads from this because they're posting content that's helpful. So we talked about reaching out to potential referral partners, right? This allows you to get additional juice out of the platform. But it gets better than that, because here's what happens. Let me show you an example of this. Excuse that. So this is somebody that's teaching LinkedIn lead generation, right? Do you think that some of those people are interested in our LinkedIn lead generation strategies, maybe? Probably. So check this out. I click to attend. And when you click to attend, even if it's not your event and you're not connected to them, look at this. All the attendees who are interested in this topic are available for you to reach out to in a non-douchey way, as Nate would say. This is something that most people don't know exists. So if you combine all this together, Nate, there is so much opportunity on the LinkedIn platform.
And that's just the tip of the iceberg. So it's extremely powerful.
So I just want to make sure everybody's getting that, because what I just showed you is like kind of like behind the scenes of how it's done properly and how you get so much out of this platform, because most people cannot squeeze this much juice out of it, or they could if they knew how to do it. But even then, they probably would, a lot of them mess it up, Nate, because they do the whole pitchy thing, right? They're all pitching all the time.
Right.
So let me just open it up. Anybody have questions or want to see anything else? Or like, I'm just
This
here
is
to
great.
So
Sales Navigator, it's about $100 a month, right?
Yep.
And you get a lot more targeting data basically with that
You can
than you
save
would
search,
otherwise.
you can save your searches so you don't have to start over again each time.
Right. Right.
It's a time, if you're in business, it's a massive time saver.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can see here, there's a lot of selects.
Yeah. And you can't make those same search selects without it, right?
So no, yeah, there's certain ones that are not available on the free version. Like, so if you're not using Sales Navigator, but you could get a lot done without it. Like, don't like what I just showed you. I wasn't even in Sales Navigator, and I showed you what you could do. So imagine being able to go into Sales Navigator now and select even more, right? To refine it.
Yep.
You can do that.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Yeah. What other questions do we have? Or Nate, you know what? If you want to just like entertain me a little bit more, I would love that.
Well, no, this has been really helpful, and you guys have brought, as usual, a ton of great value. What are some things that you guys are seeing like down the pike? You know, are you hearing any rumblings of big changes on the platform, or it's going to stay pretty much like this in the next, you know, like year?
It's gonna constantly change. I mean, I think that the constant is the change, and so that's where we keep our ear to the ground on a daily basis with this, to try to stay ahead of those changes. And you know, ultimately, if you're using these platforms the way they want to be used, they'll give you back what you're looking for.
Yeah, the other thing, Nate, is very cognizant that they don't have nearly the content creators that the other platforms have. So they are putting a very large focus on getting more content creators onto the platform. And that's actually an opportunity for everybody here, because if you're willing to produce some content, less than 1% of all LinkedIn members produce any content. So think about that. It's literally a blue ocean. If you come in and start producing some good content, it's going to play nice with the LinkedIn algorithm. And if you play nice with the LinkedIn algorithm, some of those articles will get picked up, or, you know, postings will get picked up by LinkedIn Pulse. And when they do, they'll be indexed in Google. So now when people search your name or for different topics, you have the opportunity to show up on more real estate in the Google search.
It's a beautiful thing. All right. Well, looks like a lot of people have been grateful for this. I actually, damaging admission, or maybe not so damaging, I'm actually on my sabbatical week this week, and I came into the office to do this. So I'm somewhat motivated to call a lid, if that's all right with you guys, since we are 15 minutes beyond our allotted time. But this has been fantastic. And so I'm really grateful.
Absolutely. I love doing these with you, Nate. It's great. I love delivering value, but no, in that vein, if anybody wants to reach out, you want, you know, you got more questions or whatnot, like grab the guy.
Yeah, I would. Let me just say this. I would encourage people to take you up on the session again. Like, it's nothing hurts to just get a look-see and find out about what you can do better on your profile and what's reasonable within your time constraints. Like, a lot of us have, you know, serious time constraints, especially come busy season, but there's ways that these can be outsourced. There's these activities, when properly like handed off to a good assistant, or
we can talk about that too.
I think you guys have options for that too, don't you? Like, where you can do this for people, right? So that's part of the mix that Client Elevator provides. And so that's a great thing to investigate as well. If Anthony and Donald and their team can just do some of this for you and just generate lead flow for you without you actually even really having to play much role, and just using your LinkedIn profile to do that, if you're comfortable. It just depends on kind of where you want to, how you want to do it. So that is there. I'm not getting anything, you know, from any of that. So like, you know, like, have at it and have these conversations. And yeah.
Thank you, Nate. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Hope you got a lot out of it. Look forward to chatting with those that are going to hop on Zoom with us and serving you even further.
Cool. And I'll get the recording out to everybody, and, you know, we'll be in touch. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Nate.
See you soon.
Take care.